Have you wondered about weird pop culture beyond the 80s and 90s and what Amy, Aaron, and Heath have to say about it? So have we. Join us on Patreon for bonus episodes and exclusive content where we explore the 2000s, go down weird rabbit holes, and more. Plus, you could send us your own fuzzy memories, unmitigated gall, and other messages for a chance to play them on air. It's all on Patreon. Find the link in the show notes. Hi, guys.
Hi.
How we doing?
Peachy.
The memories feeling fuzzy today?
Very.
Very?
Particularly fuzzy.
Good. That's exactly how we like it.
Fuzzy mold.
Oh.
No? Okay.
No, I was actually just thinking, maybe my gall needs to change. But no, yeah.
Okay. To fuzzy mold?
No, because I always get these bagels, and it's a pack, and about halfway through the pack, the mold starts, and I'm like, come on, man, like just hold out longer. I eat one bagel a day, and I need a what?
Bagel keeper.
What's that?
It's like a tube that you can buy, and the lid kind of like suctions on, so it keeps it like airtight and keeps bagels for freaking ever. It has a little like a hole, like a thing that comes up in the middle, like a post, and then you slide the bagels onto it.
Well, that sounds fun too.
It is. It's really satisfying.
Okay. Well, it's
a cool kitchen centerpiece if you keep them out, or you can put it in the fridge.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I already took you up on the bagel slicer thing to save my bread cutting arm, and that's helped. It's helped. So maybe I'll do this container thing because mold.
It's the worst.
And once I'm starting to eat a bagel, and then I start smelling it, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna not be sick, I guess, or be sick. I don't know how it works, but it's a buildup of mold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's how penicillin works.
Right? Yeah, you're making your own penicillin.
Yeah,
it's artisanal.
It's artisanal bagels with homemade penicillin.
Thanks, Whole Foods. Thanks, Jeff Bezos, for your moldy bagels.
That does track, doesn't it?
Right? Yeah. Yeah. So, speaking of gall, should we go into our actual planned gall? Aaron,
we shall.
You sort of teased a gall with us in our private gall session beforehand, as we mentioned that we do. Mm-hmm. Why don't you tell us about your public gall?
My public gall this week is my goddamn sinuses.
Oh.
I have reached something new in my life that I didn't anticipate. I frequently have sinus infections. I have forever. I ignore them on the reg because they go away, and I'm not going and getting antibiotics every time. It's not necessary. Mm-hmm. But I started what I thought was a sinus infection last Sunday and proceeded to move directly into my teeth. And when I tell you that I've never had more pain, I thought, maybe this isn't a sinus infection. It's a tooth issue. So I thought, okay, tomorrow I'm going to call the dentist. The next day I wake up and my eye is swollen, and it hurts so bad on my face and eye that one side of my face looked bigger than the other side. Like it was visible. You could see it.
I'm no doctor, but there's no sinuses in your teeth or your eyes.
No, but that where they all go, they reach around those spots. And a lot of people that have frequent...
You said reach around?
Yeah.
I don't like a reach around in your face. I don't like it either.
No. I hate it.
No.
But I feel them in my teeth most of the time when I have them. Yeah, that's very common with people that have really bad sinus. I've never had it this bad, though. I mean, it felt like all my teeth were coming out. Like, it's so painful. Ooh. So I still, Aaron was like, it'll be fine. I'll just put some ice on it, and I'll do my normal thing, right? So I go for a couple days like this, and it's getting worse. Like, there's a darkness appearing under this eye. And I'm like, this is spreading weird. Still thought, I'm fine.
Well, because we've established we don't want to go to the doctor. We're going to get told it's fine.
It's fine. So Thursday, I'm working, and I'm like, it's starting to move up. I can feel it throbbing a little bit. And I'm kind of squinting my eye, and then I realize, like, I'm seeing, like, floaties. And then I'm like, oh, my God, it's affecting my vision. So I panicked, and I called the doctor, and they were like, yep, come in tomorrow. So I go in, and she does this sinus test. They light them up and do this stuff. And she's like, yeah, it's incredibly, like, I can't even see on the lighted test. I should be able to see it, and I can't. She's like, so you need steroids, you need antibiotics. Like, this is not one you can mess around with. She's like, in
Whoa.
addition, because it's by your eye, I'm afraid that you have this condition that people get when they have too many sinus infections. And we have to make sure you don't have it because it affects vision. And I was like, what do you mean it affects vision? She's like, well, you can lose your vision. And I was like, what?
That's different than saying it affects vision.
Yeah, that's very different. Yeah.
And then she leaves. And I'm just going to get a blood test. This is on Friday afternoon, so I'm not getting that result, So I'm like, oh my God. Now I'm convinced myself as I'm leaving the doctor, I have this very rare, because she added very rare at the beginning of it, issue that now I'm going to lose my vision. So I panicked on my way home. I'm like, I got to go get these steroids. I got to get antibiotics. I got to start right now. I got to put an ice pack on my face. I don't know what's going on. And anyway, the test came through yesterday, and it seems to be in the normal range, so I think I'm fine. Like, it came through on my chart.
I mean, you can see us.
Yeah,
So,
but my
okay.
vision is okay.
Okay.
But what was scary is that she was listing the symptoms of it, and she's like, what I'm worried about is you said all of those symptoms. Like, it moved from your eye to your back teeth, and your face was swollen, and like, okay. She's like, I think really what's going on here is you just waited too long. I said, okay, so I'll not do that in the future, but I will. We all know I will.
We all know. Well, I
But
mean, we're going to.
This is the thing, though, that I'm mad about sinuses. We had an agreement. This is what we do. Like, don't change the game 43 years in.
The sinuses are like, listen, I'm not getting enough attention.
Yes.
I need to act out.
And there's simpler ways you could have done that. Sinuses. The swelling and the dark would have been enough. I don't know why we have to do this intense pain that hurts when I eat, because they're so sore.
I'm picturing like an Inside Out situation where there's someone in your head that's like a real anarchist and is like, let's just see what happens.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
That's absolutely what it feels like. I'm telling you that on Friday afternoon, I didn't know that I was going to be able to record today because I couldn't open my mouth all the way.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was bad. So, needless to say, if anyone has a sinus infection right now, I have zero sympathy for you because this is the worst thing I've ever. When I wake up in the morning, I had to wake up early just to be like make sure that it was not as swelled and get my steroids and antibiotics in before I came, which I have to take with food because.
You know how you guys have talked about how we need like a sort of theme song for like Amy's terrible childhood. Mm-hmm. I think we need a theme song for Erin's a body horror movie in and of herself, because we've had dead feet. We've had weird sinuses.
Update, they're still dead.
We've had weird sinuses. We've had cysts just blowing up everywhere. You had Heavesgate many years ago, which was one of the reasons we became friends. So like your whole body is just a horror movie.
It's a war zone.
It's a war
just
zone.
Minefield after minefield. Things are just getting blown up all the time. And in the weirdest way where I'm like, this is not normal.
Yeah, it feels like it needs to be like the trailer music to an action movie or something, like a Nicolas Cage movie.
Yeah. Yesterday, I made it through a show choir competition, but in the back of my head, I kept thinking, anybody else that's sick, I don't care. I don't care.
I thought you were going to say this sinus infection would have done its job. I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
You just waited one more day.
One more day, my face would have been all the way swollen, and it would have been great. Also, his side gall is my husband, who tried to convince me halfway through the week that my eyes were always two different shapes. And I was like, that's
gaslighting.
not helpful.
That is.
That's not helpful. I know it's swollen. And I think he was trying to make me feel better. But then like an hour after that, our 10-year-old came home and said, what happened to your eye? And I was like...
What I feel like we need to do also is sort of just like tape. You know how police have like jacket cameras or whatever? We need to take a camera on Erin at all times so that we can see like, the eye exploding and the like dead foot and the,
I can just send you, this is what's going on this week.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You're like, is that her eye? What happened?
Well, I can go next. It's I was considering a body-related one because I fell down the stairs a couple weeks ago, and that was just it. It's more embarrassing than anything. There's no real gall other than I feel like that's the way I'm going to die because, it just sucks. My real gall is with instructional videos.
Good one.
I've been watching a few instructional videos. I don't really like watching the videos like to tell you how to do stuff around the house. They make me nervous. I immediately shut off. Just like, nope, can't do any of that. But I will watch instructional videos for software or for things like that. And oftentimes, if you're watching things on YouTube, you can find the ones that are best, right? Like that are good reviewed and everything. And usually they're fine. They're often guys that are full of themselves. And you can tell that pretty quickly, but you just have to swallow that, just like you do in real life. You just have to swallow your, distaste for men and just go on living, I
love that Heath laughed at that first.
Go on living. But this week, I get some courses as part of a membership that I signed up for. One course was fantastic. This guy was from England. He was funny. He was great. He explained some things I'd been curious about for a long time. Then I watched another one. And this guy, over a 2-hour course, spent at least an hour of it reminding us again and again. I've done a lot of this, so I know what I'm talking about. I know you guys are kind of curious, why does he say this? But I've done a lot of this, just over and over and over. I've sold this, and I've sold this, and I've sold this. And I'm like, if you would cut this out, or this class would be an hour long, it would be decently helpful. By the time the course was done, I was like, this was an absolute waste of time because it felt like, not to be TMI, but when you're in a sexual situation and someone is saying I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. And I'm like, just shut the fuck up and do it then because this whole thing is no.
Yeah, agreed.
And I feel like this happens a lot in instructional videos. Someone is given, I imagine it's the Manosphere podcast too, where some guy is given a microphone and I am gonna tell the world.
Stuff to say.
Got stuff to say.
So is this a possible route for you? I'm seeing is doing just real low key instructional videos on stuff And people be so happy to find someone that isn't a guy being like, I'm great at this. I think you should go in and be like, look, I just learned this. I'm not the best, but this is what I know. That's a video I would watch.
Actually, maybe my approach should be, listen, I watched all the shitty videos, so you don't have to. Here's what I learned.
Yeah.
And then just give a checklist, which is what I cobbled together over various videos. So you don't have to listen to men telling you what they're going to do to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
The only instructional video I need is the one of Henry Cavill putting together a computer in a tank top. That's it. That's the only instructional video I need.
That's really the only instructional video anyone needs.
I need to change a tire. I'll watch that video.
Yes.
I need to fix the washing machine. I'll watch that video.
Agreed.
What's your gall, Heath?
My gall, I don't know. I mean, this is kind of a gall. It's mostly just a mystery that I once solved.
Oh.
So I live in my husband and I own a condominium. It's a multi-family housing unit. So we have we have a trash chute for our garbage, and we have a great big dumpster for our recycling. And I took our recycling out on Thursday and opened the lid to the dumpster, and there's probably, I would say, 50 to 60 cans of Trulies that are empty, that are also all crushed. Oh. And I'm like...
Crushed?
Right. And this has happened once before.
Like crushed like this or crushed like this?
No, like if you hold the can, empty can vertical in your hand and just kind of squeeze it.
Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
And this has happened before.
So not a professional crusher.
Right, yeah. So a few months ago, and I'm just like,
what?
That's a lot of Trulies, you guys. And the first time I saw it, I assumed someone had a party and they just served Trulies or something. But it happened again, in the middle of January, in the middle of the week. It seems like, I don't think people are having Truly parties on Wednesday in January.
Actually, that feels exactly when a Truly party is.
But then Friday morning, I left to go to work, and the recycling dumpster was so full that there was another banker's box full of empty Truly cans sitting next to the dumpster. And I want to know who I am living in a building with. Who is sharing downing this much Trulies? It's not really I'm not worried for their health, that they've got a problem. I mean, I'm going to defer to them that they've got their life under control. But I just want to know what's going on,
I'm more confused by the crushing.
Right.
Are we drinking it and then we're like, kind of thing? Yeah.
And I told Michael, I was like, first of all, this has to be a man. A woman would not do this. A woman would not down a Truly and then crush it in her hand. It has to be a guy. Which, I would think most of the people that drink Trulies are not male.
No,
I mean,
and not guys.
drink whatever you
Unless
want
it's
to,
like a
but-
divorcee and there was some, like, she's just deep in
Yeah.
it and she's like, he didn't like my Trulies. Ha But otherwise, I think what I'm hearing is that we're about to do our first Fuzzy Memories stakeout.
Oh, I'm in. Okay, well, that could be one of our bonuses.
Yeah.
Because, we could do a whole bonus series
Yeah.
on stakeouts.
We need to get like a portable thing so that when this person goes out, we can real quick bombard them and be like, we'd like an interview about why you're crushing your Trulies.
Kind of want to put in a nanny cam, like in the lid of the dumpster, so I can see, when they lift the lid up to.
That's
I
maybe a
wanna
better
see this
idea.
as-
That's,
We do have
Sounds
HOA
fun.
meetings once a month too, and I've considered to do one of those and just be like, so who's doing this with the goddamn Trulies?
Can we talk about the Trulies?
deranged persons are doing this.
On the flip side, good job recycling all those Trulies. Because my instinct,
True.
if I was drinking
Yeah.
that many Trulies, might be to just throw them away
Right,
and
yeah.
let no one know.
Yeah.
Because you have to know someone's seeing all this.
And I mean, it's public where the dumpster is in our parking garage. Like, I mean, anybody could be in there, like getting in and out of the car, doing whatever. Like, they could see you with your giant bag of empty Trulies that you're dumping out. Be like, hey, Jan.
Do you think Jan is like doing like a pack a night and just saving the bag the whole time? Or is she just going hardcore and doing a whole shitload like one night and then emptying it?
I think this has to be accumulation if it's
Right.
one person.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they couldn't. I don't think even a party of like 7 or 8 people like couldn't have drank this many Trulies. In
Wow,
one
that's a lot of
sitting.
Trulies then.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Trulies. Also, Trulies are just seltzers, right? Like alcoholic
Yeah.
seltzers.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
They look like that.
Yeah, I don't
Terrible.
know how you could drink that many of them because they kind of have like a
Also, you're gonna
sweet,
you're gonna be burping and farting all night long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll get you with the seltzers.
I don't understand the whole seltzer thing myself, but yeah,
I
more
only
power
like
to you, Jan.
I like the climbing kite seltzers, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I
So
don't like it. I don't believe bubbles belong in alcohol like that.
I don't believe.
Actually, I haven't really thought that through.
That's a hard stance.
I don't think I've fully thought that through. Because champagne I like. And,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. You get what I'm saying.
You don't. You're not a seltzer person.
I'm trying to
That's
justify
okay.
it. Yeah.
That tracks for me. You're more of an old fashioned, like
Wow. That's a good mystery.
Yeah.
I'm
so,
intrigued.
yeah, listeners, I'll keep you posted if I
Please
find
do.
out anything more. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
I
we
want-
need
I wanna
updates.
know.
Constant updates, really. I need to know how many times a week. I need to know.
Especially since you're not getting your 98 Degrees newsletters. You need that content.
Yeah, because come on. God, I'm still kind of mad about that. It made me think about it again. I'm like, how did we miss this?
Also, can I say I was so pleased when you posted the picture of them in their fire gear. I was like, I could see how like a teenage Aaron would be hot to trot over this, like
And the-
ready to go.
the little picture on social media didn't do it justice because
Okay.
I cut out the background and it's like everything's on fire behind them.
Oh.
Which made me laugh at the time because like they're in suspended. One of them just doesn't have a shirt on. The other one, and the other ones, they're in various degrees of no shirts, but they're just like, oh yeah, that's on fire, but we're gonna take this hot shot. Like what? And also, you can't go fight that fire without your jacket.
They're bad at their jobs.
Yeah. And it also makes me laugh because Justin Jeffrey, the one that's featured on the episode, is not, he would probably be considered the least attractive of the four.
okay.
And he's fully clothed.
Oh.
He's got a shirt
sure
on
was.
and a jacket.
So he showed up to the shoot and they're like, let's take this guy's shirt off. Let's put this guy's shirt on.
Let's put
plus a few more
put your
layers.
shirt on him.
Yeah, that's basically, they took
Let's
Nick
have-
Lachey's shirt off and said, you're too white, Justin. You didn't tan, you didn't do anything, and it's bad.
Also, I have a random question for you. Speaking of boy bands, we've established before, I don't remember if I was on this podcast or brought some books, that your husband Mike is a big lover of Wahlburgers. And this week we got the sad news that Wahlburgers is leaving.
Okay, well, we
Des
have to
Moines.
make a differentiation here.
Oh.
He's a big fan of Mark Wahlberg. He had fallen off the Wahlburgers train post-pandemic because he went
Okay.
back and he said it wasn't the same, and they sold out, and he was very disappointed.
sold out.
Yeah, he said, I don't know what they're doing. They obviously like tried to condense and it's not working.
Okay.
He was mad about it from probably 2020 on.
Okay.
So he hasn't been to a Wahlburgers in that long, but
I
he
see.
is a big Mark Wahlberg fan.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot
so
about that.
when I told him the news that Wahlburgers was leaving all the Hy-Vees in the Midwest, he said, Could have told him that 4 years ago. So he took the route that he knew it was going to fail.
Okay. All right.
I said, well, this greatly decreases your chances of seeing Mark Wahlberg in Des Moines.
Which is something I celebrate, but I understand.
Yeah.
He may not like.
Yes, and I think he celebrates it too because it was just not good. And his new favorite thing is Hy-Vee breakfast. And you have to sit in the, like, if you go eat in, you have to sit, like, in the Wahlburgers.
Oh, so he was feeling just
Yeah,
furious.
he was like, I'm over this. This is silly.
Okay.
So, that's all I know.
I want to return to this at another time and test like how big his love is in some ways, like how far he'll follow Mark Wahlberg.
I like that. I think that's smart.
Yeah,
I kind of started an underground campaign to like show him other cheeseburgers when I realized like you love these a lot. It makes me feel like you haven't had other good. So I think that's helped as well. Like Lachelle's, which is a local place, is like one of his favorites now. Yep. So I think he realized that maybe we weren't having the
maybe
best
his tastes had been pedestrian and now you're elevating them because you are a classy broad.
Obviously.
Yeah. With your dead feet and your
my dead feet and my swollen face and my poppin' cis. It's really a dream come true to have me as a partner.
He's counting his lucky stars every day. On that note, will you oh wait, no. I was going to say would you lead us into 1990, but I need to do a recap first.
Yeah, you do.
So, we're revisiting 1990 and guess what? That was our first episode.
It was our first episode. I realized that this week too.
I mean, we were funny, but we didn't quite know our, what we were doing yet and our pattern and all that. But, this time around.
We do.
But we did talk about some good stuff. I talked about Welcome Home, Roxy Carmichael, the bizarre Winona Ryder movie. Mm-hmm. I also talked about Frankenhooker, which is another, winner. Apparently, I didn't.
Is that on PBS?
Yes. Apparently, I didn't talk about a third thing because there wasn't one listed. So, I opted not to. Aaron, you talked.
Our first episode, Amy's like, no, I'm not doing a third one.
Aaron, you did the Stuart Gardner Museum theft.
Yeah, wild.
You also told us this was the year that solitaire was introduced to computers.
Such good knowledge. What the hell? That was a terrible one. Good job, Aaron.
And then the premiere of Beverly Hills 90210.
Classic.
Mm-hmm.
And Heath, you brought us Pretty Woman. Hold On from Wilson Phillips. And All I Want to Do Is Make Love to You from Heart, which we had a dissection of, which was one of my favorite moments. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was good. It was very good.
Still makes no sense that song was such a hit, but there it is. Mm-hmm. So will you lead us into 1990, Aaron?
Yeah. All right. So my first thing is, it's sort of in honor of one of my grandsons that is a dinosaur fanatic.
Oh.
But I didn't realize that this was the year that T-Rex Sue was found.
Yes.
Also known as FMNHPR 2081.
So I'm glad we went with
off the
Sue.
tongue.
Yeah, I think T-Rex Sue was a better choice. So this was the largest, most extensive, and best preserved Tyrannosaurus Rex fossils that were ever found. 90% of this Tyrannosaurus Rex was recovered.
So the girl had some work done because she was best.
Did. They say they found it. They think what happened is that where she died was then covered with mud and water, so it worked to preserve all of her. And then other animals didn't carry off the bones, which I guess is what happens in a lot of other cases. That, they're scattered around. But it was discovered on August 12th, 1990 by Sue Hendrickson in South Dakota, hence T-Rex Sue. So what I like about this is I think there's a backstory in here because this is how she found it. And if I'm in the group, I have questions. So they're working all summer, right? We're on August 12th. They've been working all summer in this dig site, and they're getting ready to leave because it has not been fruitful. And lo and behold, the truck has a flat tire. So everyone besides Sue. So at this point, I'm like very suspicious of Discoverer Sue because she just says, fuck your flat tire, and goes off searching some more on her own. Just goes off exploring while the rest of the people are left to deal with the flat tire. Okay, Sue. Okay. She goes to explore some cliffs, finds some small bones that then lead her to bigger bones, all in the same area. And so she takes it to the Black Hills Institute, which is who they were working for at the time. She takes it to the head guy. They figure out, yes, this is a T-Rex. And that's when all hell breaks loose. Because the Black Hills Institute had obtained permission from the owner of the land, Maurice Williams, to excavate and remove the skeleton. So he owns the land. They said, we're going to pay you to get this dinosaur off. They paid him $5,000. Williams, after he realizes, oh, this is a big-ass T-Rex you're taking off my land, says that money was not for the sale of the bones, but only to allow the Institute to remove it. Which feels like he doesn't understand transactions.
No, that's how, okay. Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm asking you to give me money to take the bones, but that's not for the bones. That's just for your work of excavating the bones. You have to pay me to do the work. So
okay.
The bones are a separate line item.
Yeah. So it's like if you had someone mow your lawn and you're like, no, this is a privilege that you get to be on my property. You have to pay me the lawn mowing fee.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
So, but Williams was a member of the Sioux tribe. So the whole tribe got together and said, those bones belong to us. This is on our native land. They belong to us.
And to clarify, we've got Sioux, and then we've got Sioux, Sioux, the Sioux tribe.
Yes.
Okay. Because at first when you said Sioux tribe, I was like, so he was a fan of the scientist Sioux?
I guess.
Got it.
Sue has a cult.
She has a cult.
She has a cult.
I think all of her cult left after she didn't help with the flat tire. But okay, so... However, the property where the fossil had been found was held in a trust by the U.S. Department of the Interior. So there was some questions about, do they really own the land? Does U.S. own the land? Tale as old as time, right?
Yeah.
So the U.S. got busy doing its super unethical thing. And the FBI and the South Dakota National Guard raided Black Hills Institute.
What?
Where the bones are being cleaned, and charged the head of the Institute with 158 crimes related to these bones.
Whoa.
Because they wanted the bones. So eventually, the courts ruled that actually Williams retained the ownership of the bones, the guy that they paid him $5,000. So he was allowed to then sell it at auction. And it was sold at auction for $8,362,500 to the Chicago Field Museum. Mm-hmm. And there was a whole bunch of other museums, like the Smithsonian wanted it and stuff, but everyone was worried when this went up for auction that there was going to be like wealthy private investors that would take it and not put it on display for public. So Chicago Field Museum did the smart business thing, and they got backers like McDonald's, like really big corporations to back them up to buy this, that then got, sponsorship. Recognition or whatever. So that's why they were able to outbid everyone and get it at the Chicago Field Museum. So after all of that, that is where it's on display. In recent years, it's been moved. It has some kind of bigger interactive display. It's still there. You can still see it. And if you're interested, T-Rex Sioux has their own official X account where they joke about being a murder bird and other hilarious dino stuff.
Sue needs to get off X.
Yeah.
And get away from Elon.
I agree. Elon's going to tear you down, Sue.
Also, that was a really smart move by the Field Museum, because when I lived in Chicago and I went to the Field Museum a couple times, I mean, it was the prize centerpiece.
Was it?
And everyone, school buses all across the land were coming to Field Museum. So I'm sure they got just millions of dollars based on their, exhibiting, Sue.
And Larson, the guy that got charged, did end up spending a little time in jail for all those crimes. They were successful at prosecuting him for working on the bones and cleaning the bones, even though it was his explorers under his watch that found the bones. I mean, it's very interesting to me that how they kind of swooped in and took that from him
That's
and
some
used
shady FBI
criminal
shit.
prosecution, because he's like a scientist that's finding bones. Like, he's cleaning them in his lab, and you're going to charge him with 158 crimes, like.
Also, can we go back to scientist Sue? So do you think that she slashed the tire because she thought, no, there's one more spot? Or she was saving it till the end. She had spotted it before, and she's like, she wants a big reveal at the end.
She wants it to be the only discovery.
Yeah.
I thought that. At first, when I started reading the story and I saw that she left them, I thought she planted it at first. I thought that's what we were going to find out, if she wanted it to be successful or something. But it seems like everyone, I mean, of all accounts, it was very on the up and up. Like, she went to a cliff. What I'm thinking is that there was some infighting. It was an area that was never looked at. And I'm guessing what happened is she wanted to look there. Everybody else was like, no, we're done. The flat tire, she took the opportunity to run off. And they were like, oh, we'll leave you, Sue. If we get this fixed and you're not back, we're going. And she's like, well, I got to, run off to the cliff. Yeah. And she's like, I found the bones. I mean, can you imagine how insufferable she was after that?
And the fact that it was named after her.
Yeah.
That she was a pill.
I feel like Sue's the kind of person that, like, when you're putting a puzzle together, like, she takes a piece and, like, hides it. So she can always put the last piece in. Like, I feel like that's Sue's gig, right?
Wow, that's evil
Have
genius.
you met anyone?
Yeah, has someone done that to you?
Oh, yeah.
What?
I've married to someone who does that.
Michael! God damn it!
I love puzzling, and that is a horrid behavior.
He would deny it. He would deny it for sure, but he is someone who would, he would do that. He's very competitive.
Wow, I didn't know puzzling was competitive.
Apparently,
You wouldn't
Michael
think
turned
so.
it competitive. And you married him still.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, that's kind of you to stay married to him after this behavior.
So is
I'm
he
out
the
there.
type of person that would run away from a flat tire and find dinosaur bones?
I don't think he would run away from a flat tire. If there was a flat tire, I think he'd just be like, well, what do you expect me to do? And he'd wander off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he'd get distracted, and he would find
He'd follow a
dinosaur
butterfly,
bones. Yeah,
and and then he'd just wander around. Yeah, that sounds
And
right.
find someone he knows over by the bones.
Absolutely.
Wow, good story.
I know. It's quite the thing, isn't it? For whatever reason, I have this image in my head of Sue the next day coming into like the workplace like lunch area and opening the fridge and just being like, chicken salad, that's mine. And just like eating everyone's lunch like, hoo-hoo, I did it.
I saved science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
T-Rex, Sue. Guess what they're naming it? After me.
Well, my first 1990 pick is in honor of David Lynch, who passed away this week,
Yes.
because probably his biggest hit was Twin Peaks, and it premiered in 1990.
Did it really? Wow.
Yeah, and it is just bizarre and wild and wonderful. It's horror, it's mystery, it's supernatural, but it's also like a soap opera. It's also comedy. And more than 36 million people, which was 1/3 of all households watching television on April 8th, tuned in to watch the premiere. And it was one of the most talked about shows television had seen in years, which is wild to me because the show is so bizarre. And it's so surprising that in 1990, so many people were into it.
Yeah.
So to say what it was about is tough. We can say that it
Sue would
starts.
know.
Sue would totally know.
Let me take a crack at it. I found a T-Rex. I don't know if you know.
Yeah. So we can say it starts when the body of a 17-year-old girl, Laura Palmer, is found in a small Washington town just a few miles from the Canadian border. And FBI agent Dale Cooper is eventually called in, and we meet the weirdest, most earnest, hottest law enforcement officer that I've yet to see in Kyle MacLachlan. He loves coffee and pie. He treats his dreams as evidence, and he's constantly dictating notes into a tape recorder for Diane. I imagine Diane, each time she got a tape, was like, Jesus Christ, this fucking guy.
Was Diane like his assistant or his boss?
His assistant.
Oh, okay.
And later on, we meet Diane, far in the future. I'll come back to
Okay.
that. Over the first season, we followed Dale Cooper's investigation into log mill espionage and drug dealing and sex trafficking. And we met the strange characters in the town. So in addition to a bunch of people who knew and loved Laura, who are all bizarre themselves, there's also a lady who walks around with a log and says, my log knows who killed Laura Palmer and will tell you one day. But then refuses to say any more.
That feels like a life goal.
Yeah.
To just
Log
be the
lady
type
is
of person
great.
that just walks around with the log and is like, the log knows.
Like she's at the corner diner just hanging out with her log and then comes up to Dale Cooper and is like, my log has something to say about this.
I feel like there's so many times you could use that to get out of things. The log knows, and then just leave because no one's
Just leave.
chasing you after you claim your log
Nope.
knows.
Yeah. What is so great about all of these bizarre characters is they're just sort of taken in stride. Like Dale Cooper's like, oh, okay, great. You know, like it's not seen as weird. There's also a truly terrifying dude named Bob. And there's a bunch of people in a red room, including a giant, a little person, and a one-armed man that talk backwards. So, so the first season ends, and we didn't get an answer to who killed Laura Palmer. So ABC executives put a ton of pressure on David Lynch to solve it early in season 2. And so we got an answer, but it felt like sort of rushed and it felt kind of like dissatisfying. But it was enough that enough people dropped off. They're like, okay, done. Show is done. But there was still a lot of season 2 left, and it got even weirder. Like the storylines just went bizarre. Because they didn't have this mystery anymore, it went to a whole weird place. So the ratings dropped off, but they ended season 2 with one of the most terrifying and haunting like finales of all time. that, especially if you were still watching it, and to be clear, I was 12. I was not cool enough to know about Twin Peaks at the time.
Right.
I had to watch it later. But when you're watching it and you're like, wait, that's the end? What? So then, in 1992, David Lynch creates another Twin Peaks movie. And he makes it as sort of a prequel to the show, featuring Laura Palmer. And I imagine a lot of people, and me when I watched Twin Peaks for the first time, was like, okay, we're going to watch the movie. It's going to solve everything. It's going to make sense. No, that's not. No.
Okay.
This movie is dark as fuck. And it barely features Dale Cooper, and it answers really no questions whatsoever, but it shows Laura just being beat down in a lot of ways. However, it does feature David Bowie, so there's a special place in my heart.
Well, then you
for
were
this
all
movie.
in, yeah.
Then, in 2017, Twin Peaks returned. And what's crazy is in the original show, there's a real weird scene where Laura Palmer, who is dead, is talking to Dale Cooper and says, I will see you in 25 years. 25 years later, the show returns.
Oh, do you think he planned that? I just got goosebumps. That's weird.
Me too. And I will say that I'm rewatching the show now because...
Okay. I was going to ask you if it holds up. I've never seen it, so
Yes.
I'm kind of interested to watch it.
And I just watched the third episode, and there's this crazy... Like, Dale Cooper, his character is aged up to be like 25 years older. And it made me think, like, was he planning this the whole time? Because eventually in the return, that's what he looks like. Like, it's so bizarre, and it gives me chills to think about, too, that maybe he could be thinking that far ahead. But,
yeah.
So...
Get it, David Lynch.
Yeah.
I mean, not anymore, but you did.
Right.
Congratulations.
So the return is like 18 episodes. It's 25 years later. This season was 10 times more bizarre and confounding. And it featured an ending that just continually haunts me still.
Oh.
But it also featured Nine Inch Nails. Again.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh. He was writing it for you.
Yeah. One of the things we're seeing a lot since David Lynch died is mention of this family that he created, right? Like actors that he goes back to again and again. He did that a lot with Kyle MacLachlan.
Yep.
He also did that with Laura Dern, with Naomi Watts. And so I love to think that even though this stuff is super dark and super bizarre, he made this really wonderful creative experience while he was doing it.
Yeah.
And I barely understand Twin Peaks. I definitely do not understand the movie, and the return made absolutely zero sense. But you sort of have to just embrace it, and it's that's kind of part of it. And I read this review this week that seems to encapsulate both this and everything David Lynch does, where it was a review of Twin Peaks: The Return, and it says, "I didn't understand a single second. 5 stars."
That's great.
I feel like, do you think, like it was so popular at first? I wonder if David Lynch was uncomfortable with that, because he seemed to be someone who liked to sort of play a little bit outside of the box.
Yeah.
You know. So do you think like the second season and the movie and all, like, did he make it as weird as he could possibly do it, just to sort of get rid of some of the strays that were kind of?
I feel like that had to at least be part of his thinking, to be like, you know, the very least to say, this is what I want to, you know, make this about. Who cares what anyone else thinks, you know, which for a broadcast show in and of itself is pretty huge, to be like, fuck the viewers. Let's just make some weird shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I feel like, I mean, he probably, I'm sure he liked it, but then when everybody liked it, I wonder if that affected how he felt about it. Like, he's like, I didn't do this right if this many people are into it.
Well, and there's the story of he did the original Dune in 1984, and it was it was not a hit. It was not a success. And he said he learned the lesson from that to always retain creative control, because I imagine he wanted to do lots of weird stuff, and they probably said, yeah, no, come back. This could be like a blockbuster or whatever. And so he viewed that as, you know, not necessarily a failure, but something that he definitely learned from. So I imagine once he started getting some success, he's like, I don't like this, which kind of makes sense. I find sort of endearing, because once, like, I put out these books that I wrote, and my original thought was like, oh, it's going to be so great to hear people talk about it. And the minute someone talks about it, I'm like, oh God. No.
I hate it.
Yeah. Heath, what about you? What do you got for 1990?
You know, this isn't as weird as Twin Peaks, but the movie Dick Tracy came out in 1990. But it's, I mean, reading through, it's been a long time since I've seen the movie, but reading through the plot, it was a lot going on in this movie. It came out in June of 1990, and it was produced, directed by, and starred Warren Beatty as Dick Tracy. I'll try to summarize the story. It's kind of, it seems pretty batshit when you read it. So there's a character named The Kid, and he witnesses a group of mobsters getting murdered by two men named Flat Top and Itchy. Flat Top and Itchy work with Big Boy Caprice.
Nope. I don't like any of this.
Dick Tracy catches
just...
the kid shoplifting and decides to adopt him.
Oh.
Wait.
So I guess that's how it works. You just you find...
You seem troubled. Come home with me.
Right.
Yeah.
Doesn't
my
sound
ward.
predatory at all.
Yeah. And that's obviously gonna. I mean, if you caught him stealing, he's not gonna steal from you at your house, right? Obviously.
No.
It's all gonna be fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So while all that's happening, Big Boy courses someone named Lips Manless,
Oh no.
also a gangster.
Lips manless.
Yep. To sign over control of Club Ritz, and then steals his girlfriend, Breathless Mahoney, who was played by Madonna.
Breathless.
So are we're all still on the same page here, right?
Is the club featuring a clarinet playing old-timey
Lord,
star?
I wish.
Yeah.
Does it
okay.
have Ritz crackers? Easy sponsorship opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be, if they didn't do that, that'd be a dumb move.
Yeah. Get that hot cracker money.
So Breathless is the only witness to Lips's murder, but won't testify against Big Boy, and instead tries to get Dick Tracy to sleep with her.
Okay. That's the
Bigger
next
goals.
logical step.
Big goals. Yep. Okay.
So while Dick Tracy is distracted by not sleeping with Breathless, he is kidnapped by Big Boy's henchmen, who try to kill him via boiler explosion instead of just shooting him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the kid saves him, so they make the kid an honorary detective. So this kid, he was a shoplifter to now he's got a whole new family to now he's got a job, like all in the course
This is
of...
a meteoric rise. This is like a child star. They're going
Honorary
to start doing
detective.
drugs. Yeah.
Okay, this is sort of inspiring for me.
Oh.
So there's a chance I could become an honorary detective if I just show up at enough crime scenes and solve them.
Yep.
Okay.
Worked for Angela Lansbury. I don't know why it wouldn't work for you.
Yeah. All right, I'm doing it.
I like it.
So next we find out that the DA is on Big Boy's payroll, which is why he won't prosecute him for any of the crimes he's suspected of committing.
Well, sure. That's how it works, right?
Breathless tries to get in Dick Tracy's pants again.
Just really needs that Warren Beatty dick, apparently.
That dick.
Yeah.
Someone named the Blank goes to Big Boy and says that they'll kill Dick Tracy if Big Boy will cut them in on the club's profits. But Dick Tracy knows something is up, and he and another officer plan a listening device in Club Ritz.
This is so convoluted.
It is.
Why'd we do this with the names? Why?
Yeah. This is distracting.
It's
really.
distracting. It's not helpful. No.
So Big Boy discovers the bug and tries to kill Dick Tracy again. But Dick Tracy is saved by the Blank.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Breathless agrees to testify against Big Boy if Dick Tracy will sleep with her. She's a dog with a bone.
She needs that bone.
She doesn't have a bone.
Yeah, she wants it. She wants that bone.
She wants that bone.
Also, it should be pointed out that this Dick Tracy has a girlfriend this whole time.
Oh.
And she gets herself kidnapped by the Blank, who also
damn it.
happens to kill the DA and frame Dick Tracy for the murder.
Oh.
This is all in one movie, you guys. This seems
is-
like 3 seasons of a TV show, but this is all in
Yeah.
one movie.
Question, is the blank, I'm picturing the spelling. Is it like just a blank in the name,
No,
Or
it's
is it
actually
like
spelled out B-L-A-N-K.
Oh, okay,
And the
great.
person it doesn't have a face.
Oh.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a face.
Yeah, there's a mask that makes it look like this person does not have a face.
Okay.
Great. Okay.
So eventually Dick Tracy clears his name. He gets out of jail. He finds that Big Boy has taken his girlfriend hostage from the Blank.
No.
So she went from one kidnapped sitch to another.
She seems like a liability.
Yeah.
During the
she does.
standoff, when Dick Tracy is attempting to save his girlfriend, the Blank shows up and offers to kill Big Boy and share the city with Dick Tracy. And that makes me feel like the Blank doesn't know how sharing works or how cities work.
Yeah.
Needs some background on urban planning and development.
We'll just share
and-
this.
Yeah.
So the next thing you know, Big Boy shoots the Blank.
Oh.
Then Dick Tracy shoots Big Boy,
Oh.
who falls to his death. Now, before the Blank dies, it's discovered that Breathless Mahoney has been the Blank this whole time.
Oh, switcheroo.
Yep.
So all of this demanding to sleep with him. Do you think that was real or just part of the blank's manipulation?
I feel like Breathless Mahoney seemed like a Class A horn dog.
Okay.
Like I feel like...
So both things could be true.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
The use of horn dog could not have been better.
So yeah, anyway, the movie was only an hour and 45 minutes. Like,
What?
Seriously? Right, as I described that, like I said before, it seems like this is just episodes and episodes and episodes of a TV show, but it wasn't even 2 hours long.
Fast.
Right.
How do you keep up?
Uh-huh. And I mean, and again, we were talking about some, like The Brutalist and Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah.
You've all heard me complain about long movies.
Yep.
Take a page out of Warren Beatty's book.
Damn it all in.
Condense it.
Yeah. Yep. But there was a ton of famous people that were in it. Al Pacino was in it. Dick Van Dyke was in it. He played the crooked DA, which seems like not a Dick Van Dyke type thing.
Who was Al Pacino?
He was he Big Boy? He was one of the, like a lot of them, like Dustin Hoffman was in it, and he wore lots of prosthetics.
Okay.
Kathy Bates was in it.
Oh.
Catherine O'Hara.
Really?
Schitt's Creek, yeah, she was in it. And there were also lots of people that were almost in the movie. Like Robert De Niro was almost in it, Michelle Pfeiffer and Kathleen Turner, Kim Basinger, Sharon Stone.
Jesus. What was the appeal?
I don't know. Because they couldn't have read the script.
No.
Yeah.
Madonna wanted to be the part of Breathless so badly that she was willing to be paid scale, and she ended up only making $35,000.
But she also dated Warren Beatty for a while, so all that yearning for Dick, he must have, really transcended off stage too.
Yeah.
And you remember, this was why he showed up in Truth or Dare, because he was dating Madonna at the time. Anyway, Dick Tracy.
I remember it was a major flop too, right? Like, or did it do well?
I don't think it did as well as they wanted it to. I think
yeah.
people thought it was going to be sort of in the vein of like a big hit like Batman was, or like the original Superman was, and I think people were just like, no, we didn't.
That's true.
Nobody was really clamoring for a Dick Tracy movie.
They were kind of confused on what comic books people wanted, right? I have a Trick Tracy story.
Oh,
Dick
okay.
Tracy story.
I like a
in
Trick
another
Tracy
language.
story.
Yeah. So it came out right around my 13th birthday.
Okay.
So the celebration for my 13th birthday was going to be.
I just got I was excited about the story, and I just got a bad feeling. I just got a really bad feeling. Okay.
I actually chose it. I wanted to go see Dick Tracy.
Okay.
And I can't remember if I chose it or if it was pushed, but we were going to go to a nice dinner at the Crystal Tree, I think was the name of it.
Oh.
Is that still around?
I don't think so.
Okay, it was supposed to be uber fancy, which probably means it was like Applebee's at the time. Like it was just, it was like,
And
oh
this
my
is how
God.
you wanted to spend celebrate your 13th birthday? Was it a fancy dinner and Dick Tracy?
I don't know. And also, there was going to be a limo.
Whoa.
To come pick us up. And when I say us, I mean me, my mom, my dad, maybe my brothers.
Okay, so wait a minute. They thought 13 was like the birthday.
Apparently.
You were passing into womanhood. They no longer responsible for you.
Maybe that was it. They were like, okay, we've basically been treating you as an adult. Let's seal the deal.
Yeah. And then you'll get it, and you're no longer under
What did you wear?
Interesting follow-up question. I
Like, were you like in a dress? Like, was everyone dressed up? Or
My dad wore jeans, and I was wearing like a jean skirt or something. So my definition of fancy as fuck was we were still wearing jeans.
Yeah.
And it was.
I'm the most thrown off by the limo. But okay.
Well, so we're waiting for this evening to start, and the limo doesn't come, and doesn't come. It doesn't come. And I can see my dad is on the phone and just getting pissed. And my mom is pissed. And I'm just like, oh, okay, all right. So limo never comes. The story is that they just biffed it, that somehow the reservation didn't work or something. But we ended up in our own car going to Crystal Tree, and everyone's pissed off and just eating their dinner at Crystal Tree. And then we go to Dick Tracy, and everyone hates the movie. I remember I was trying to be like, no, it's good, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then we got home, and everyone told that story every birthday for years and years and years. Remember that time the limo didn't come? That was so funny.
the limo you never asked for that you didn't care
Never
about?
asked for. No.
It makes me think of her mom as Vicki Gunvalson in that opening scene of Orange County when she's like, you sent a van for a family of... Yeah, so great.
So yeah, Dick Tracy became code for a real fucking weird birthday that and then I think there was I think I had some friends at this time. It was a touch it was touch and go on friendship over the years. But I think I had a couple friends that they were like, okay, why don't we all go to a movie with your friends? And I was like, great. And then my mom chose Days of Thunder. And so we went to the movie my mom chose. Also, for my 13th birthday, my grandma Jody made lawn signs, and put them up in the yard and said something like, Amy's 13. So I'm sure any predators that walked by were like, great, good news.
I'm fascinated by the idea that we put so much in on the 13th. I guess it was your first teen. You turned teen.
I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe because it meant that soon I'd be going to high school, and that was going to be the pinnacle. That was going to be the pinnacle of my life.
I think it has more to do with emancipation, but yeah.
Yeah. We can wash our hands of her.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right, next up on 1990, now that we told that story, that was probably unnecessary.
Well, you know what? This is the year all the smokers around the world got pissed because smoking got banned on airplanes. It
didn't get banned until 1990?
And not really, even then. That's the first time that it was effective, like, on domestic flights, but it wasn't actually like fully banned until like 1999, 2000, which is wild to think.
Wow.
So this was kind of a bigger deal than I realized. Like, I think we're so used to now everything being non-smoking. But I mean, I do remember a time when restaurants were smoking and non-smoking,
Yes.
and you would see people, and as they were starting to ban that stuff, how much like people were pissed about it, and then now it's like no one even thinks about it. Or
my grandma Jody, this could have been the end of the world when they started moving to separate sections.
Yeah.
Like, I guess we're going to have to go in the smoking section. Anyway.
What's also funny about that is that restaurants would do that. There was like no barrier between the two sections.
No,
it was
you
just
could be like right here, right next to
Right,
yeah. It was purely like performative in action at first. Yeah. So surprisingly, the idea for banning in-flight smoking was actually introduced in 1969 by Ralph Nader.
Oh.
Who knew that guy was on the cutting edge of banning smoking?
Okay.
Wow. So the U.S. decided they were going to start testing the idea in 1988 by banning smoking on domestic flights that were less than 2 hours. Thought process being you can go without a cigarette for 2 hours, and then the airport, you could get off and do it. In 1990, though, they decided to do the first sweeping ban that laid the groundwork for the full ban, which was that smoking was banned on all domestic flights, only domestic, less than 6 hours. So if it was over 6 hours, you could smoke on the flight.
This is so arbitrary.
If it was international, you could smoke on the flight. Here's the part that I really liked about the ban. It applied to passengers and the cabin of the aircraft, but not the flight deck. Pilots were allowed to continue smoking after the 1990 ban due to concerns over potential safety issues caused by nicotine withdrawal in chronic smokers.
Oh, God.
They were like, you guys are so addicted to smoking, we don't want you flying a plane without it.
It's like saying, like, hey, we know you're addicted to heroin, so go ahead. Just do it.
That's fine. We don't want it. We don't want you having withdrawal in the air. Just do it. No surprise that other countries were ahead of us in this. Like Japan had started banning smoking on flights way before that. Air Canada banned all smoking on all flights in 1990. We didn't go with the full ban until 2000.
Shocking.
Which is surprisingly late, I feel like, for banning it completely. Mm-hmm. They also, when they did the ban in 1990, they started installing discrete cigarette ashtrays on bathroom doors, and people at first thought that was like, oh, so we're supposed to smoke in the bathroom, but it was because they wanted the flight attendants to have a safe place to put out a cigarette if they had to remove one from a passenger. So they had it, which I was like, don't they have little sinks back there?
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
why would you put it in the...
Yeah. So yeah, there was a lot of, and there's a lot of stories about like laboratory smoking. We know that's, and now of course that's expanded to like e-cigarettes, vaping, like they've had to cover everything now. Mm-hmm. And now it's a bigger deal. Like they'll stop the flight and like take you off. They is supposedly, especially for like a full out smoking, I would assume. But yeah, it got serious fast. But I was surprised that there was 10 years between the first ban and then actually fully banning it.
I imagine there was a lot of people like, you're taking away our rights.
And
we need freedom and all this stuff.
And, obviously it's costly to build airplanes and whatever. So after they banned it, the ashtrays weren't necessarily gone from in between the seats. I mean, I remember flying and still having them in there. And that was like a thing that people, the ashtray's here. Like they used it as they didn't remove it yet, but you can't use it.
Mm-hmm.
People are real dumb.
So dumb. So dumb.
Real dumb.
But I just really liked that as a group, committee wise, whoever decided and got together and was like, this is the ban. We're like, well, what about the pilots? They're like, yeah. Yeah.
We cannot fuck with those guys.
We got to leave it alone. Don't touch the pilots.
Yep.
It's just like when we said it was fine if they have 2 Coronas per flight. We have to let it go. We have to let it go.
It's fine if they get a little handsy with the attendants. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
Can they still smoke?
I have no idea. I didn't find anything about that. But I would assume when the full ban went into effect that it was. And I think at that point there was more education to say like, okay, there's ways we could mitigate the withdrawal before,
have some Nicorette.
Yeah, Nicorette, a
Take
patch.
Some damn gum.
Yeah, anything else. But yeah.
This is not about smoking, but I remember once, one of the first times I flew, and I was by myself, and I had a carry-on, or I had a bag that I had, stuff in, and I put it under my seat on the plane, because I was a dumbass, and I didn't gather that you put your shit under the seat in front of you, right?
Right.
And, because I guess I was probably just used to it in school, like when you sat down in school, you put
I mean, it makes sense, yeah.
But there was someone sitting behind me, and he was like, excuse me, is that your bag under your seat? And I'm like, mm-hmm. And then I just went back to what I was doing. I'm sure this guy was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, move your stuff. How did you get to the airport, you idiot?
Or he saw you as like deliberately doing this. Like,
what's funny now though is when you fly, they like give you literature and a whole video about putting it under the seat in front of you. So I think the dum-dums increased from there. Like no one understood the under the seat situation.
Nope.
But I also think like air travel became more prominent. Maybe like because we didn't fly anywhere when we were kids. We flew once to Florida and it was a huge deal.
Same.
Yeah. And so I don't know, but obviously it's not anymore. So I don't know, maybe that played into it too. Yeah.
I was 21, 22 the first time before I ever flew.
All right, shall we go from flying to subs?
I never thought of a better
We're talking
transition.
about sandwiches or the
nuclear subs?
Nuclear subs.
Yes. Because I'm talking about the hunt for Red October.
Oh, yeah.
So I want you to cast your mind back before all the recent Jack Ryans, okay? So before John Krasinski, before Chris Pine, who did one movie as Jack Ryan, before Harrison Ford.
Before Ben Affleck.
Oh, shit, he did it too. Yeah, before him. There was the first Jack Ryan movie, which featured Mr. Alec Baldwin as the CIA analyst Jack Ryan, who figures out the shit no one else can. But the first billing in this movie is not Jack Ryan. It's the antagonist, who is Sean fucking Connery. In the height of his fame, perhaps.
Sean Connery.
Playing a Soviet commander of a nuclear sub.
I just saw a clip of Celebrity Jeopardy from Saturday Night Live.
Yes,
And Daryl Hammond, who plays
Sean Connery.
He's like, I'll take Le Tits now for $200. And it was Let It Snow.
Oh, God.
I saw one where it was something. It was supposed to be therapist or something.
It's like the rapist.
Yeah, that's it.
It's like, it's therapist.
So much more dark. So much more dark. So he, Letits Now guy, is Soviet commander of a nuclear sub, Marco Ramius. Yeah.
What's his name?
Marco Ramius.
Ramius, okay.
So, and Marco with a K, because it's Russian. Yeah. So I was in.
Yeah.
In the movie, it's 1984, and Ramius is the captain of a brand new type of sub with a silent propulsion system called a Caterpillar. So he takes it out for its first run, and the first thing he does is kill the commander and tells the crew that they're actually going to the east coast of the U.S. to run some drills. And there's a U.S. sub that is assigned to tail this Soviet sub, and they lose contact. So the CIA gets freaked out because they're like, oh, shit. All these other Soviet subs now are going after Ramius. He's going to launch a nuclear weapon at the U.S.
Yeah.
But Jack Ryan, who's really nobody in the organization at this time, he knows about this sub and Ramius because he's a big fan of Marco Ramius, apparently.
Oh.
And he says, wait, I think Ramius is actually trying to defect. So the CIA gives him 3 days to confirm that before they go hardcore on Ramius.
3 days is generous.
3 days is generous.
Okay.
So then begins a wild trip where Jack Ryan finds the U.S. sub trailing Ramius, gets on the sub, convinces the commander, Scott Glenn, to believe him, and then ultimately boards the Soviet sub and has a whole conversation with Ramius and makes a plan and everything. All while Soviets are after them, and the U.S. is chomping to preempt an attack. So it's tense.
Wow.
Sounds tense.
I guess so.
The movie also has Sam Neill, Scott Glenn, like I said, and James Earl Jones as the head of the CIA.
So much gravitas.
So much. It is tense. It's exciting. It's nerdy as fuck. It makes copious use of the Soviet national anthem.
I love that.
Copious use.
It also made me realize I was claustrophobic and I would never set foot on a sub. Those are death traps, people.
Yep.
I've been on the one at the Pearl Harbor in Hawaii.
Yeah.
There's a sub you can tour, and how did you spend any? I could not. It's terrifying.
Yeah, and to know that you're underwater with all the pressure around you.
Right.
Yeah, it's awful.
Nope. So the movie actually first went to Kevin Costner for Jack Ryan, but he was making Dancing with Wolves. Dances with Wolves? Dancing with Wolves?
Dances.
You know what I mean. Thank you.
Dances, yeah.
Which went on to win some Oscars, so he made the right choice there.
Okay.
And then they actually offered it to Harrison Ford, who turned it down. But a few years later, he made 2 movies as Jack Ryan. He's an excellent Jack Ryan. The best part of this, though, is in researching this, I found out this is based on a true story. So there was a Soviet Navy officer who stole a sub in 1975. And Tom Clancy, who wrote this book that the movie was based on, he read that and he was like, oh, shit, this is cool. But in the real story, the guy didn't want to defect. He wanted to start a new Soviet revolution.
Oh, boy.
So Valery Sablin, he saw the Soviet government as corrupt. And he said they were bad communists. They weren't real communists. They weren't hardcore enough.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh, feels mega-ish.
So he made a plan to steal a Soviet Navy ship, sail it into Leningrad, and call on the people to rise up against the government and form a new Leninist communist revolution. So giving a lot of faith to people in this scenario.
Yeah, he did not have enough experience with people.
No. So when he got on the ship, he locked away the ship captain and some leaders, and he convinced the 150 crew members to join him.
Persuasive speaker.
Yeah. When he stole the ship, the Soviet Navy went after him and started bombing them.
Whoa.
And then the crew were like, oh, shit, we're getting bombed. Wait, no thanks. I'm good. And they released the captain and turned themselves and Sablin in. And Sablin, a few weeks later, was executed.
Oh, geez.
Oh, they swift justice.
Yes,
Yeah, a few weeks.
Swift. And to cover it all up, the KGB claimed that Sablin had been trying to defect. And that was why he had left and why he was executed. And so that's the original story that this was based on, which is wild to me. Because I loved the movie for so long, I didn't realize.
Yeah, this seems like
shit.
Amy porn from way back. Like
Yeah.
Soviet Union, Russia, subs, defecting. Like, this is all your, like, talking points from that time.
And one thing, though, they realized, the movie creators realized, like, oh, shit, we kind of timed this bad. Because in 1990, the Soviet Union was falling apart. And they were like, oh, they're not really the enemy, I guess, anymore. So they made sure at the beginning to have a screen crawl that said it's 1984 to place it in, like, hardcore Cold War time. You know?
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin was very attractive in this movie. He could get it back then.
He could.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could. I hate to say that.
I'm sure he was a dick back then, too. But,
probably,
what can you do?
But,
Might have been worse then.
Yeah, that's very true. Especially after this came out and he's, like, feeling himself,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. How about you, Heath? You want to wrap us up?
Bring it home.
Bring it home. Thank
bring
you.
it on down.
You may remember a television show from 1990 called Captain Planet and the Planeteers.
No.
I do remember this.
Do you really?
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
this?
It's a cartoon that debuted in 1990. It's about a superhero who's also an environmentalist. And I feel like, I guess, I watched some Captain Planet. I feel like this is an example of somebody that's, like, mediocre at 2 things instead of just being good at one thing.
Yeah.
Wait,
Agreed.
is this animated or is
Yes.
this? Okay.
Yeah, it was
all right.
cartoon, yep. The general plot of the series is that the world is fucked up. To that I say, no shit, 1990.
But also, that was me in 1990. Oh my God, global warming. I should have watched this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me, it's called Climate Trends now.
You're right. You're
not
right. I
changed,
apologize. Yeah.
So Gaia, who is the spirit of the earth, a job which I thought belonged to Mother Nature, sends 5 magic rings to 5 teens spread across the globe.
Teens?
Teens.
Oh. That wasn't a good choice.
When the 5 powers combine, they summon Earth's greatest champion, Captain Planet.
Okay.
And, I'm not here to tell Gaia how to do her job, but why would she send the magic rings to kids that are spread out all over the world if they need to be together to conjure Captain Planet? Like, that seems weird.
Because then there's just a bunch of flying on smoke-filled planes that they have to do to get there.
And teens are, like, notoriously fickle.
Yeah.
Like, I mean...
You're going to be like, wait, what is this? Why do I have to wear this?
Wait, I have to fly somewhere?
Ugh.
At the end of each episode...
That's not what happened. Stop it. Stop it right now.
At the end of each episode, there's a Planeteer alert, which would discuss environmental or political or social issues and how the viewers can contribute to be part of the solution rather than the pollution.
Oh, my.
Wordplay.
The wordplay on point.
It was basically The More You Know, except the segments were about not throwing trash in the ocean instead of not answering the door when your parents aren't home and a pervert comes knocking.
Yeah.
So Gaia, the person who stole Mother Nature's job, as you recall, she was voiced by Whoopi Goldberg for the first 3 seasons of the show. Yeah. The character of Gaia claims that she slept through most of the 20th century. Which I think would make her a bad fit for the job of spirit of the earth. Right? And when she woke up, the whole planet was trashed. So, they're trying to explain away like how this has sort of been progressing over years and years.
So she overslept in her nap.
Right.
And we had fucked it all up.
There's not really a strong sense of accountability from her. If you're babysitting and fall asleep when you wake up, the baby has more or less joined the MAGA movement. That's kind of on you, right? Like
1,000%. Yeah.
The baby's watched YouTube and gone down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And
they're like QAnon. They're like, watch this. They're eating babies. I'm in danger. Yeah.
So here are some of the villains that were featured on the show. Ooh. There was Hoggish Greedley, a pig-like human who loves overconsumption. Real subtle. They're real subtle. Captain Planet.
I remember Captain Planet being very subtle.
Wow. Okay.
Verminous Scum is a rat-like human who represents urban blight, disease, and drug abuse. That's what the internet says. He can control rats, and he has his own helicopter that he named the Scumocopter.
Wow. I mean, I see that, and I'm a drug addict, and I'm like, I can get my own plane.
And call it a Scumocopter?
Yeah.
I bet they smoked on that thing.
Yeah,
they did.
They smoked a lot.
There's a woman named Dr. Barbara Blight. She's a mad scientist with a scarred face who represents the dangers of uncontrolled technology and scientifically unethical practices.
Huh. So she's part of the new cabinet then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's the FDR.
Yeah. Okay.
She's a new cabinet.
She got that scarred face when she tried one of her experiments on herself. Seems like a pro-environment show would lean towards having the bad guys experiment on animals.
Yeah.
But, I guess a lady's face is the next best thing.
I mean, that's the biggest, most important thing for a lady. So, yeah.
There's Luton Plunder. He's a poacher and a shady businessman who has a nephew named Robin Plunder. Like Kermit's nephew, Robin.
Oh, boy.
I think the name is the only interesting thing about the nephew. Someone named Argo Bleak is Luton's henchman, and he has a boner for guns. That's how I would describe it.
Again, another cabinet member.
Yep.
Okay.
There's Captain Pollution, which is basically the bizarro version of Captain Planet. He has red hair and is weakened when he encounters pure elements like clean water and sunlight.
He's like, not on my watch.
Yeah.
Huh.
So this is the first redhead I've ever heard of that likes to be in direct sunlight.
Yeah, that's a bad move on your part, dude.
And I think right now all we can really do is thank Captain Planet for debuting all those years ago because we're in good shape. It did it.
It worked. We did it. Success. We listened and everything was great.
Yep.
You can't talk about it anymore, but it's fixed.
Oh, it never was. It was all just a conspiracy to have you not don't know. I don't even know what
I
they
can't
come
keep
up
track
with.
of the conspiracies anymore. I can't keep track.
It's not a thing. It's just a trend. And
No.
how do we know this didn't happen 100 years ago? Well, we have the data, but okay.
Yeah.
Or just the science and the facts.
Yeah, just like the tracking that they've done forever. But yeah, no,
Nope,
you're
that's
right.
not-
Like
that's not allowed.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. I think before we go, we could mention that this week we are starting a new membership program.
I mean, I don't know why the gasp was so big. It was excited.
Yeah.
I was on bated breath, waiting to hear what
Yeah.
you were going to say.
What I was going to say was what you need more than anything in the new year is a new membership. It's fuck
Yeah.
the gym. Fuck your book club. Fuck whatever else you think is on your list. You need a membership to this because this is going to be the thing that actually brings you joy and that you'll keep and sustain. Outside of Heath. I excuse Heath from the gym thing because he actually uses his gym
actually
membership.
uses
But
his gym.
we've
Yeah, yeah.
established that.
Also, can I say that marketing copy was just genius.
Yeah.
I mean, what you came up with just then.
Just now.
That's
I
what we
mean-
need to use from now on.
Yeah.
Fuck every other membership. This is the real shit.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the real thing. All those other ones are just trying to trick you. They get your sign up and then they try and scam you into other things. We're not doing that. We're providing you a service for this subscription.
Wow, I didn't know we were going to go conspiracy time with
Everything's
talking-
a conspiracy
okay,
now.
Okay,
That's
you're
how
right,
I'm
you're right.
operating from all points.
Great.
Future forward. I trust no one. I believe nothing.
With that in mind, what we're going to do.
We're going to start broadcasting from our bunker.
That's right. Yeah, we're going to be in a
And
bunker.
the bonus is just all my conspiracy theories.
Because we're going to go into conspiracy land. You're right.
Ooh, I love it.
No, we're going to be releasing bonuses across. You're going to get access to a private channel, basically, and you're going to get bonuses from us, from Fuzzy Memories. And guess what? We're going to talk about maybe even beyond the 80s and 90s, maybe some 2000s.
Whoa.
What?
Maybe some like things from the years we graduated high school. Maybe some of our top 5 and top 5 best, top 5 worst, all that kind of stuff. You're also going to get bonuses from our other shows, Midwest Weird, which is an audio literary magazine. And in case you heard, or in case you used to like Broads and Books,
We're back, bitches.
Surprise, motherfuckers.
Woo! Who knew 2025 was the year? Finger guns.
Aaron is coming in so hot to this advertising, and I love it. I was not expecting this. But yeah, we're back, bitches. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the title of the bonus episode that we're going to release. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, we're going to be releasing some new Broads and Books bonuses and talking about what we're reading, what we're watching.
Because we've missed you, and you've missed us.
you.
Don't lie.
We might bring Heath in as
Oh,
well.
yeah,
We could have some
absolutely.
live events. We're planning shit, you guys. Good stuff.
Big dreams. It's on my vision board for 2025. It just says big dreams.
We're nailing this. It's so good.
So good.
All right. Well, until next time, guys.
Did I fuck that up? Do we need to redo it?
Not at all. I love that. I love it. The energy's off the charts. Maybe it was your sinuses. Your sinuses were like, we got to go hard.
I think
at
the
this.
steroids just hit now because I had to take them right before I came, and I think
Okay.
it was like, Surge, fuck you, we're doing this. Jesus, I just had like white male energy just surging. Like,
I mean, that's what you
I'm rolling
need.
it out.
That's
yeah.
what you need in 2025.
Ah, God, this week's gonna be weird because I have to take them for a long time.
Fuzzy Memories is a Broads and Books production. It's hosted by Heath Smith, Aaron Johnston, and Amy Lee Lillard. Follow us at Fuzzy Memories Pod on Instagram for clips and highlights. And follow us at Broads and Books Productions for updates on new shows coming your way. See you next time.
Oh, the Crystal Tree. I put in the Crystal Palace. Hold on. Crystal Tree, Des Moines.
I'm pretty sure that's the name of it, because that's something
No,
else.
Crystal Tree was a thing.
Was it fancy or was it like Red Lobster?
I can't really find.
Because I thought Red
Wait,
Lobster
Red
was-
Lobster's
it
not
was in-
fancy?
I thought it was fancy as fuck.
I think it was in a Crystal Tree, a restaurant in the Holiday Inn Airport.
Oh.
Was where high schoolers took their prom dates.
That sounds fancy.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Airport
yeah.
Holiday Inn.
Yeah. It says it's still in there.
Oh, really?
It's giving me a phone number that I could call.
Should we call him on air? Are you fancy or are you not? What?
Whoa! Oh, we're calling him on air?
Oh, it's a vacant number.
Oh.
Shoot. I was gonna.
What were you going to say?
I was gonna say, what time do you close? Just like, are you all, you know?
Do you remember in 1990 a real pissed off family?
Are you fancy? Do I need to dress up, or is it like jean skirt availability?
If I wear a jean skirt, will I stick out? Will I blend in?